Like if we convert to disc, a lot of times what we'll do is run an adjustable portioning valve in the rear to dial the rear brake down. If you keep it drum, then all we would do is pretty much just match the master cylinder to the bore size of the front caliper and just leave it that way.
Setup for a light pro touring built 78 Trans Am?
It depends really on what your goals are with the car and what wheel size you're going to be running. Usually with brakes is our common theme is that you can never really have too much. It just is dependent on what can fit in the wheel you got and budget.
Michael would like to know if all brakes and components are made in the USA?
Michael, for the most part, yeah. Rotor castings are not. They're all done offshore. We get some actually done in China. We get some done in England. We do all the finished machine work on them. We have been working a lot trying to get castings done in the States, which is almost next to impossible. But in terms of hubs, brackets, calipers, everything that we do out of aluminum, all are machined in-house in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, no problem.
What do you guys think of the build so far?
It's awesome. Overwhelming.
Were you guys here for the Camaro?
No, Todd came out for the Camaro, but we weren't here.
A lot of work going on over
Oh,
there.
it's unbelievable. And there's so many people involved in it.
It's just fun to see this tear down and rebuild. It's amazing.
Yeah, in this short period of time is crazy. Yeah.
We did have some questions about that yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Can we talk about the master cylinder?
Sure. Oh, here we go. Another question.
We've also found that some people are afraid to ask certain questions about brakes because they're maybe nervous, but we feel that no question should ever go unanswered. It's always best to ask.
Yeah, and if we don't know, we'll figure the answer out. So.
All right. Matt in Norway says we have a hard time getting approved disc brake upgrades because some brands don't have dust and dirt shields.
Yeah, it just depends on what system you're looking at doing. Sometimes the dust shields, because they're so small and they're designed for factory rotors that might be like 11 inch, and we go bigger diameter, the rotor actually runs into the dust shield. So it really just depends on what you're looking to do.
Mike says, when running four-wheel disc brakes on a 66 Chevy C10, do you need to run a proportioning valve?
I would recommend it, yeah. I mean, really what ends up happening is we'll match the piston area front to rear on the calipers, but every vehicle's different. And depending on, suspension, ride height, weight balance, tire width, everything will affect how the brake actually will work. And really the proportioning valve, what we do is all it does is limit line pressure to the rear brake so it doesn't lock before the front. So it's always a good tool to have in any disc conversion for the rear, just so you could dial that rear end.
Testing process before you release a new set of brakes?
Yeah, I mean, basically, like to come up with ideas, we'll go over a number of different things, like, what kind of calls we get, what we feel new popular cars or applications might be. And even beyond that, we a lot of times there's certain areas in some of the early domestic side of things that we want to fill. So from there, a lot of times we might start off with getting a spindle and or a car. We'll do the development on it. Before we finish it, we'll always want to have a car in so we could actually do final test fit and everything like that. we actually do a lot of testing in Phoenix, actually close to our shop. And then we also work with an outside engineering source called Link, which actually does a lot of the OE testing. They have a Link facility in Phoenix because there's 3 or 4 different proving grounds that are actually located in Phoenix, Arizona.
All right, Dylan asks, is it better to have a super stiff pedal that gives you really hard braking quick, or to have a softer pedal that you can modulate easier?
It's a tough question. I mean, because so many people like different pedal feels. Typically, if the brake is proportioned properly, meaning piston area front to rear and master cylinder is right, usually the softer pedal just means a smaller bore master cylinder, which will generate more line pressure. But I mean, a softer pedal doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easier to modulate compared to a hard pedal, but pedal feel is so personal.
They're showing your
Oh yeah, there's the remaster.
It's a nice looking piece.
Thank
Seems
you.
like it was a very good, quick install.
Yeah, yeah. For the most, they built a bracket for it to mount to the Corvette, but for the most part, I think it went pretty good.
We can also do that in some custom colors.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. We also offer the remaster in a bunch of custom colors, just like the calipers. We actually have done a number of them in that transparent, the fire red, like we did on the calipers for the car.
As
Almost
times
like
change,
jewelry.
we do too.
Yeah.
So you want colors, you want to make everything smooth.
Oh no.
All right.
Are you up?
Oh yeah, now it's working.
Are there any plans for carbon rotors?
There actually are. We introduced a caliper at SEMA this last year called the GR6, which is a new monoblock caliper we're going to be doing, and that one we're going to end up doing in a carbon rotor option and a different cast iron.
Do you guys have line lock in your brake kits?
No, but you can definitely adapt a line lock to it.
And Lon says he noticed that brake lines seem smaller than stock. Why is that?
On the aftermarket, it's real common. Most guys use 3/16. The thing with brake lines is diameter does not matter. It's not like a fuel system. We're pushing a bunch of fluid through the line. The way the brake really works is there's a piston pushing fluid, pushing another piston. So the amount of fluid transfer through the line is very, very minimal.
Schmitty has a question.
What do you mean? I'd have to find out for you. Why do you need to know?
For like positive pedal, pedal swing and pedal placement.
Oh, I mean, I can find out what total throw is of the master. I'd have to find out for you, though. Yeah, I can find out.
All right. Brake feel like 3/16 versus a quarter.
It doesn't.
And if this gentleman upgrades from manual brakes to power, would he have to change his brake pads?
It really depends. I mean, really, in most cases, no. If you run into a situation where your line pressure is a little bit low and the pedal feels a little bit harder than what you like, you could go to a more aggressive brake pad. But that's just sort of a band-aid for a system that might not be properly set up.
You guys need to you need to head out and help Schmitty.
I just have to probably make a call for him. That's it. It pops up over here.
They look like they're getting close to getting the engine in.
You are on mic, so go ahead and explain what you're doing when you're measuring it.
Oh, okay.
Okay? And what the hose is for and everything.
Okay.
Whoop. So you want me to be that crazy guy in the car talking to himself, but
Yes, yes, we do.
with quite some lively conversation, and everybody's looking at him while he's driving down the road. Not yet.
Not yet?
He's working on it. He's assembling it right now,
Okay.
and then we're going to get it up in there and mount it. We've got a couple hoses to make for it
Okay.
before it goes
The
up
pump
in.
itself, though, is that?
That is
I was-
permanent.
That's permanent. So
That
I can
is
put
permanent.
The connect.
Yes. That is permanent. I'm gonna slide underneath there and check the. Rodney's working on brake lines. Where did my other mat go? There it is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Bear Brakes chat session is over for now, but they will be back again, so stay tuned. And that doesn't mean you can't ask questions. We will make a log of some of those questions and get you answers as we can. We also have more chat coming soon, so so we will keep you posted on that as we make our schedule through the rest of the day. But right now, the next one up is going to be 11 a.m. and it's going to be Lizard from Max Tie Downs. Yes, I said Lizard. And he's entertaining and he can tell you a lot of stuff. If you think you know anything about tie downs, unless you were watching yesterday, you don't know jack. So you better tune into the chat. I'm a little warm. Could we get the air conditioning working so I can get it?
Pedaling is fast.
Wow, that's loud. What are you doing?
So basically, you got to go all the way up to the last. We might want to back it out and try it again. The end links were just barely clipping the bumper bracket.
Yeah.
Or the core sport bracket. Just took it out, cut them, putting it back in.
Oh, okay. Did you cut the arm or the?
No,
You cut the bracket.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where
Yeah,
it
yeah,
comes
yeah.
down and over. I just knocked
Yeah.
it.
Lovely.
I'm gonna go below it for the other one. Wouldn't make some noise. I like noise.
I say we just take this damn sway bar off the front, put another one on the back. You double up, this bitch will be one happy ass camper sliding around with Smitty trying to hang on.
Double.
We'll give it. We'll see how much skill he's really got then, won't we? When he can't go in a straight line to save his life, we'll see what happens then. He likes them sideways. Let's see. We'll test him out.
Always forward, never straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you still? I just didn't want to get underneath there. I'm gonna be right here. I'll work on that.
That's horrible. Hey, do we have earplugs at all? Yeah. We do? Can we get some?
Like handfuls or just a couple? Or?
Just a couple is fine. Just for the guys that are in there right now, that rattling is horrible.
I think. Well, take this. I can go above or below.
So anyway.
Hey, Rick, I got some earplugs coming. Yeah, I'm an ear protection guy like mad now. When I started realizing I was going deaf from standing next to Top Fuel cars all weekend with nothing because I was the man. Yeah, not a smart deal.
I need a 14-second.
Rick?
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Anybody else need them? Thank you.
Alrighty, I'm just going to
We got 29 hours, 40 minutes to finish the 48-hour Corvette. I don't know how many more that means today, but thanks to Monster, the crew is working hard. The Snap-on tools are working like mad. I'll tell you what, who knew? Good?
Done. Thank you.
Oh, because it's Instagram. That's good, because then it'll kick them over. They'll go, what? Yeah. snaps.
You want to see some?
What are you doing? Are you doing the crimps?
I am. Right
Oh,
now I'm
dude, these are the nicest fittings.
working with our Ultraflex tubing and hose.
Yeah, and
And-
these are the ones that you put in the hydraulic swedge
Right.
to do. And I got to tell you, I see that you've clocked them and everything because they're not a swivel,
Right.
which means that it's important that you position these things right. But what's interesting about this style of fitting is they're lighter weight.
Yeah.
I mean, considerably lighter weight. And I'll tell you, these are this hose with this dark gray and just, we know we've used it a lot.
the carbon fiber sheathing, and then it has a Teflon inner liner, which
Right.
I've got a piece right here.
Yeah,
If you can see, the Teflon sticks past on here a bit.
yep,
And then before I cut my hose, I use a piece of Scotch tape because it's very thin.
yep,
Put a ring around it where I've marked,
right.
and then use the approved cutter
Yeah,
in the
because
center so that it doesn't collapse it or kink it.
yep. And the cutters are pretty neat deal because this stuff is, when you squeeze it with your hand, it is so hard, but it cuts so nice
Right.
and clean. And this is like so lightweight compared. This is not cheap stuff, folks. We're not gonna lie to you on that, but we are gonna tell you that when your project calls for ultra lightweight, or you just can't live without it looking this saucy, then yeah, this stuff is badass. And the crimping is unbelievable how high pressure these kinds of fittings will go.
If you'd like, I'm gonna go crimp this right now.
Are you? Okay,
If you
let's
wanna
go
come
do
along
it.
and watch.
Yep. Where'd you put it?
Right
Oh,
over
there
here.
it is.
Yeah.
Now, you guys have a very interesting tool cart over here because, hold on, oh, there you are. Dude,
We're
Big
picking
Mike's
up.
already on it.
We've already, you've been sniped.
I know, I had no idea Big Mike brought the camera
suckered
over. I was
you
all,
in you didn't even know we were pulling you in.
Hold on, here's the coolest thing. Not only do you have the gnarly tool, but this entire toolbox, only thing this is for is AN fittings, hose,
Earl
etc.
fittings, hoses. We have the stuff for the super stock, the Ultraflex, and the Speedy to do brake lines.
Right.
So we've got all the brake line ends and stuff to do flexible brake lines.
Can I check this in as luggage so I can take it home and plumb Daphne's car?
And we keep enough of the number 3 and 4
To do your own flex
to do
hoses.
our own flex hoses here.
Yeah.
And like you said, we've got quite an assortment of the hose.
Well, and here's a good tip for people. So here's a fitting that is already crimped and good on this hose, and you've changed a motor or whatever, taken this out, cut it off, but this is still usable. You may have a spot that only needs one that's this long,
Right.
and you can cut it and put a new one on.
And what this is kind of my size chart. This is number 16,
Yep. 10,
12,
12,
and 10.
Yep.
And John had made me a nice little triangular shaped clamp for Brett's Mustang
Yeah.
that captured these 3
Right. Ah,
for
very
his
nice.
dry sump. So that was a mock-up for John to machine a clamp.
I like it. Oh, also for you guys at home, if you don't know what the dash means, when we say dash, some people call it negative, like it's a negative sign. It's dash. Dash 16, dash 10. The number is 16ths of an inch. So a dash 3 is a 3/16 of an inch hose. You know,
Dash 6.
Yeah, dash 4,
3/8.
6, exactly. 6 is 3/8, etc. Technically, AN originally only went to like a dash 16. Now They
You know
go
what the AN
24.
stands for?
Yes, Army or Air Navy or Army Navy.
Army Navy.
Yes, Army Navy.
The fitting, the taper on the end was specific for Army Navy.
Which is 37 degrees instead of 45 like a
correct.
typical plumbing application.
Yes, correct.
So you can't mix it. So that means when you have a flaring tool that you use for, you know, like copper in your house to hook up a water line or something with a compression fitting or whatever, that's 45. It won't mate up to the 37 correctly.
Right.
It might work for a short time, but it won't work for long. So 37 is what you need in order for all the AN stuff
Right.
to match. That's what that bevel in there is. It's all 37 degrees.
And the receiver
Yes.
on the other end of this. So you're talking about this angle right here.
Yes. So,
And
little
there
lesson.
are fittings that are similar,
oh yeah.
but if you mix them, you'll have serious amounts of leak.
Oh yeah. And the worst part about them is that if you mix a 45 and a 37, depending on which half you have where, it will seal for approximately that long, just enough to get all the pressure built up and spray crap everywhere.
Right.
We don't like that.
And a little bit of lubricant so the threads don't gall the spine.
Yeah.
But you do not need Teflon tape or
No.
thread sealer. All that does is makes a mess out of this.
Yes,
Now,
they're not designed to have any thread sealant, but
another little tip, and I bet you don't know this. You know Dick from Cool Tools.
yes.
Have you seen the tool that he's making?
Uh-huh.
That
Don't get me started. I
that-
want one. I know.
that-
You're just taunting me with stuff I can't
that
have.
rehones this
Yes.
and will reseat. So you
Because-
don't have to throw them away. He's got a tool that actually repairs his taper.
The Earls guys
if
aren't
it's got
going
a
to hear
nick
that,
in it.
but I'm with you. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, it is because it's not uncommon in a
price
race
point-
application to bang up the end of one of these, and then you sit there with a file and you try and do it. But like you said, the Cool Tool allows this to basically hand machine a
rehone
new,
it,
new surface there and on the other side, and makes it so that if you have one that's chewed up, you can fix it. But you have a good point on this, is that these are aluminum, and aluminum sometimes gets sticky. Do
No.
not use thread sealant, but this is one of those times where you need one of those those little oil squirter cans like your dad had, and literally put a drop of oil on a thread, and it will lube the threads up really nice. They'll tighten up good still, but they won't be hard to remove, etc.
Now, Earls also makes, and
Yeah.
a couple of companies, if you booger that up, they have a really dead soft aluminum
Yes.
ring, and this is oversized, of course, but it snaps right down on here, and you can use that as a seal
Yep.
if you have a leak issue.
Yep, and they're pretty cool, and most people don't know about those. And like you said, you could just squish this in your hand right now.
Yeah,
it is
it's
super,
it's
super
very, very soft
Yeah.
and pliable.
Okay.
Anyway, let's get back to what we came over here
Yeah,
for. You're holding
crimp
me
that.
up again.
I know.
Now, I've marked this for under the car for clocking because these don't swivel, as Chad said earlier. Now, on a hose that has a straight end and a angled end, it's not as important. But like this hose also already has a little bit of a pre-arc in it, which
Right.
helps me for what I'm doing there. So I'll clock this now. It becomes very, very important if you have two 90s or a 90 and a 45
Because
or
you
so on and
can't
so forth.
twist that
Now,
hose.
while I was under the car, I marked it in a convenient place. But the way the crimper's set up, you only really see under the bend
fitting, yes.
because it sticks out through this notch. So what I do is I come back over here, I check my clocking marks, and I'll come here
and make new ones.
and make new ones where I can see them in the crimper. Like that. Now,
And you already have the correct size die in there,
that's right, I do.
because it takes different dies,
For
which just fall into place in here, and you take. It's super easy to set up.
now, I'll
but
double
for each
check
size.
that I haven't turned myself or
Yeah.
moved around on the way in, and then we're going to bring the the die down, and there is a shouldered step in the die that your ferrule or your sleeve goes against.
The silver part.
Right. So we'll kind of get in close and we'll pull that down until we feel it touch that shoulder. And then we'll snug this up. And now we want to make sure that our hose hasn't slipped down or up and that our fitting is all the way in.
Yes.
And then we go ahead and start to compress till we can feel it grab it. And then we'll bring it down until this surface touches here.
Right. And that's one of the things that's the common, the most common thing to do wrong is not checking that everything's seated and trying to over compress these things.
Right, but this system has an automatic stop. You can't really over compress it.
But if you use some of the other, because you can use other crimpers with this, and some of those don't have the stop, so that's one thing to pay attention to. And the ones that don't have the stop have a gauge that you need to watch and not go past.
But there's our crimp.
You see how it squeezes that right there? One of the things to note is that the crimp marks are right in a good line around it. They're uniform depth, and yeah, the clocking marks are dead on. That's it, it's done.
Now, one other little thing to watch. If you're running in a straight line and you're very short, this will cause this to grow just a little bit.
Yes.
So normally, if we're running from point A to point B, instead of being in a straight line, we'll put a little bit of an arc in it.
Yes.
And that way it allows everything to move
Yep.
and flex, and you're not in a dead line so it can't pull it apart, or it's not trying to compress it and kink it.
One other thing to remember is this hose has the Teflon liner in it. But if you're doing the traditional black braided style hose or stainless where you're cutting that with a wheel or what have you, you most certainly want to blow it out, rinse it out, brake clean, etc.
We always blow these out even with the Teflon liner.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that
something
hasn't fallen off of your beard, food, some kind
Why'd you have to use my beard?
I've seen you eat. Did you see you eat the biscuits this morning?
I don't know. I just swallowed the biscuits. Biscuits. There was a lot of biscuits.
You had biscuits for a main course and then biscuits for dessert.
I had an appetizer biscuit too, remember?
Oh yeah,
I did. Yeah. That was the hot biscuit. Hot biscuit. Yeah, it came out of the oven and I grabbed it. Yeah. I'm no dummy.
You're the kid that eats the pizza and
totally.
the roof of your
mouth.
Yeah,
the roof of my mouth every time. Oh yeah,
never
absolutely.
learned.
Never learned. No, because it's just so damn good looking when it's all bubbly and everything.
I've loved talking to you, but I got work to do, man.
Well, damn, dude, I was wondering when you were gonna do something.
Is that working? Were you hearing me?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Huh?
I was gonna have you ask you something.
Oh, I didn't realize you went. Yeah. How you doing, big boy? We good?
I went ahead and got the crossover done.
They want to read oil temperature in the race pack, which and then I read them back.
No, oil temp's good.
We have it in the Holley.
Don't
Right,
kink
and it can grab it from there, can't it? Did you ask Tim?
Really flex guy.
It can't.
Oh yeah.
Not pressure, but
Not temperature.
vacuum rated at all.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So put a port in
Sure
this
is.
thing.
You need some anti-seize? Got to weld another button on it.
You don't have to. You could. How much room do you have on the bottom here?
I got to put a standpipe on it. Is my plan because I don't. Getting this, I got to mount it.
Well, because you could just do a T in it and put the sensor in the side of the T, depending on what your clearance. You see where I'm at?
I've got.
Okay. Think. Don't worry.
Well,
I know. Yeah, I know. You gotta. I know. Yeah, exactly. Isn't it convenient that Corvette put this big hole in the side of the fender?
It is. Excellent.
Since they screwed us out of room on everything else.
That only works on 70 to 72.
Huh?
It's only on 70 to 72.
Oh, on a 73 is that fake?
It's the scoop.
Yeah.
can't get
Oh,
in there.
that's right.
And then
Oh, I can. I
80
can cut it
80
out. I know guys
82.
that'll glass it back in.
80 to 82, there's an opening in there, but then even 68, 69, it's just the gills.
Right, that's
we
right.
We actually make removable gill panels.
Oh, okay.
Fit in that
Right.
hole right there.
Oh, okay.
A lot of guys like to run those.
Very cool. How are your boys doing? Everything getting close?
Yep.
Anyway?
Yep.
Nice. Yes. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm checking our schedule here. If I can find my mouse. Oh, there it is. I found it. I got it handled. What day is today? Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday? That day. I don't know. Which one is me? Okay. Stereo is not installed because we've been doing so much on the interior. So we are behind on that because that was technically a yesterday deal and we did not complete that. I'm okay with that. AC plumbing is currently underway, so we are behind on that. Body wiring is like, how are we doing there, Mike? Were you okay? Okay. Okay, good. So Manning says they're good on wiring. The engine and transmission not in. We're waiting on Smitty to mount oil tank for that. All the clutch hydraulics and such is in, which needed to be in by this morning. It's already in. Can I show that as done? How do I do that? Scott, how do I make something orange because we finished it?
You can't.
Why?
We didn't give you the access to do that.
Well, I do. I have a mouse. I can click it.
No, you don't.
Yes.
No, I have.
No, I don't care. He's behind there. I'm going to click on it and see what happens.
We will do that. We'll do that at lunch. Okay? How's that?
Oh, no. Got it. Own it. Figured it out.
What?
Right click, change the color. Woo!
I didn't know you were signed into the.
Yeah. Check me out. I'm all good. Okay, so we have, let's see, boom, 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 goes the dynamite. We are supposed to have installed the front suspension. Where's Ballard? Oh, no, there you are, Josh. Front suspension in, done. True turn bolted up? No. True turn, okay. The what?
It's all on there.
It is all. Okay, so front suspension, done. Dude, I'm so excited right now. Okay. Installed front suspension, pow. Fuel tank and lines not in. Digit, where's Rodney? Is he done with the brake lines yet? He's what?
Bracket.
Making a bracket? Okay. Well, here, what? Let's go over my list here. Stand over there. Look pretty.
Yes.
I was looking for like some pose or something. Okay. Install front steering. Pow. Boom goes the dynamite. Notice this is your department. Front brakes.
I'm jumping on those. I can wait a little bit.
No, that's all right. No, whatever.
Let me roll.
No, I say wait on those for just a little bit. Rodney's doing the brake line, stereo too. Okay, we got none of that. Belt bar, no go. AC plumbing is in the works. AC wiring harness also in the works. Evaporator.
That'll all go together.
Yeah, that's all at one time, right. Condenser also already fit and ready to go as soon as they put the motor in and the core support. So all the AC stuff is gonna go boom, 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 all at one time. EFI and ignition installation is close. Race pack is underway. Controls for the AC are done. Boom. Body wiring. I wonder if I can split this. No, I cannot. It's a bunch. There you go. Dude, we should do in process as pink. Dude, Scott Payton's gonna lose his mind when we start changing colors. Let's do it. So, which one? You think that pink?
It's up to you.
I'm going for that pink. Yeah, baby. I'm so changing colors on things. Fuel tanks and lines not happening. Brake lines. Pow. In process. Look at me. This is awesome.
In process.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Tim's putting heat wrap on it right
Oh,
now.
that's right. Okay, good.
And that way, then once that's done, it can go in.
What is that? Oh, belt bar. No. AC plumbing is in process.
Yes.
AC wiring is in process. Condenser sort of is in process. I'm going to leave that one for now.
Leave it open.
Yeah, we'll leave those open. EFI and ignition is actually in process because they wired up the motor on the Standarino. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. That's not true. I make that one back blue. It's this one. Engine wiring. Oh, no, that's Michael Manning. So never mind. I was right on that. Boom. That's pink. Look at us. Race pack already working on that stuff, so it's in process. Install engine and transmission, waiting on some stuff. Mount radiator, etc., etc.
That's in process.
Do what?
He's making all the brackets on that.
Oh, yes, that's right. Okay. Dry sump plumbing, no, 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 no. Steering wheel, we have one. Dude. We're doing all right.
Not doing bad.
No, we're not doing bad. I was scared a little bit, I gotta tell you. I gotta tell you. Oh, undercar heat shielding. Boom goes the dynamite. Look at that. Hey, Scott Payton, director extraordinaire. I added a new color for in process. Oh, yeah. The coolest thing is that Scott hates it when people mess with his system. Oh, yeah. I'm owning the system. Notice the pink for in process. We got a lot of that. Yeah. I'm so excited right now.
Might hit up the AC guys because they were going in and out with the oxygen, and now they're not in there.
Mind blown. I'm doing that. I'm doing a mind blown. I'm doing a mind blown at some point.
Have Jason go to the inside the car.
Okay. We have AC plumbing going on, boom mat everywhere, controls for the gauges, and the throttle pedal already installed. Mind blown. In case you all were wondering at home, this is when all the stuff starts to get goofy. We're in. It's gonna be awesome. How is it that we're only like 3 hours into our day, by the way? Seriously, we're only 2 hours and 45 minutes into today? Oh my God. Dude, I thought it was like 1 o'clock. I'm hungry again. No, that's okay. Well, I know what's coming for lunch, dude. I want to spoil it. My mouth is watering right now. Oh, but we might have to go taste test here. No, hold on. Let's get an update on Smitty over here, though. What? You're good. So Smitty's putting the bracket in again for another test fit. There's a lot to mounting this oil tank, so he's checking a bunch of things. The drain location, a sensor so the race pack will pick up oil temp. Man, a lot of stuff going on here. And we've got to get this done in order to put the engine and trans in, which Smitty is then taking on. What did you do, Tim?
I'm shearing a sheep.
You are shearing a sheep, apparently. Not Smitty, but Tim.
Start that one on. I got the tank.
Take it towards you a little bit. There you go.
Yeah, that don't work. It needs to be. Tighten the nut up on that bottom one.
Okay, the top needs to go, well, technically the top needs to go that way.
We have it tipped out just a tiny bit.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Back here, you can reach and put that on it.
If the tank didn't tip away, it was in. All right, does the top one on that side, on that one work?
Whoa.
Oh, I do. I got one nut for the top ones.
Okay,
I take
tell.
run with it, or do you want to handle this?
Put that
Wait,
in from the outside
So
hole.
Dan the Man W, trying to think if that's somebody I know. Tell Chad to
Yeah, see,
trade
there's this little
sleep
plate right here.
for calories. Oh, meaning eat more.
No, eat less. Evidently, you're eating too much and not getting enough sleep from his assumption. He's wanting you to
You
get,
think? Trade sleep for calories. No, because if I trade sleep for calories, then I would go, okay, I'm going to give sleep and take calories.
you've got
see,
enough
that's-
calories. You've had enough calories.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you on that, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to
That's what
stop.
I'm saying. You want
But
me to
you know,
run
like
with
the
this?
guys on Deadliest Catch, which have nothing on us, duh. Those guys, they just eat nonstop to stay awake. So I take that as a personal challenge tomorrow.
We can stay up with Mike tonight with the rat guys.
Oh yeah, the rap guys are under those poor suckers. They actually are under the impression that if they hang out, they'll find time to actually sneak in and start.
Here's another question. Who will do the burnout?
Smitty will do the burnout, unfortunately. I mean, when I say unfortunately, not that he isn't absolutely capable, only unfortunately because I would like to do it. It is your motor. Mike Copeland is chiming in going, dude, it's my motor.
So you can't have Monster, I guess, if you're not if you're trading calories.
Why? The Monster is good stuff. And I can have the caloric or non-caloric kind.
There's a big difference between calories and caffeine.
That's
Does it really
true.
look like chatter? I worry about calories.
I know, exactly. Yeah, right now, this is not my concern. Right now, my concern is, smells yummy. Let's go taste.
We're not wearing black because we think it.
He's kind
Not gonna kill dirt.
No, it's because
he's
it's
rapidly going
slimming.
like me. He's going from a TV face to a radio face.
Hey, I started at a radio
That's
face.
what I did.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's go test out the barbecue.
Jason, can you go to something?
barbecue coming.
My question, Roy, why do you not buy it?
Charlie Ubelar.
How are you, Charlie?
I supply them their boxes.
Oh,
They're
really?
empty boxes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
And I was telling, I cracked
Thank
up
you.
yesterday. You on that dang mic. Well,
I hope you're
funny.
not
You're
uncomfortable
funny.
with a man kissing another man, because I'm about to kiss him.
Oh yeah.
Damn,
I done
that's
had
good.
some. I done
Ooh,
had some. It was
coleslaw.
good.
Thank you for watching. We appreciate it.
11 o'clock last
Good morning.
That's good.
Meeting to please.
Huh?
What
Whoopsie.
the hell?
I'm dropping stuff.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
Chad, I gotta tell you a little story about this box business with Brett.
About the what?
Box business.
About the box business.
Yeah.
When Brett first started up, he was out with his brother,
Right.
and he used to work for us.
Right.
On servants. He was our machine shop man,
Uh-huh.
and he said, "I'm going to quit, and I'm going to go into." Which one do you want?
I'm not sure. I think this one, I'm gonna move that cork off.
Here, I'll move it.
Okay, just move it down there to the bottom, and then I'll put this one on.
And he quit us, and he said he's going into this airbag business. And I said, "Well, that sounds cool. You know, I didn't know anything about airbag business."
Right.
But he was selling then, and I brought him boxes 25 at a time.
Really?
Yes. He had ordered a certain size, and I'd
Right.
run him 25.
Now, how many boxes now does Brett buy every month?
He averages probably $8,000 to $10,000 worth.
Of boxes a month.
Boxes.
And I don't know how much that is, but it's a lot of boxes.
A lot. A lot.
That's awesome.
But it goes back to, I tell everybody the story about delivering 25 at a time.
Ooh, tangy hot.
One of them is.
Yeah, Sharon made those.
Sharon made the barbecue sauce?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, damn, dude.
Don't get any better than this, does it?
So it's gonna work for you?
No.
Okay.
Well, yes, but nobody else, because I'm eating that whole butt. I'd the ass end out of a pig.
We got you a table for two over by the CNC machine.
Thank you.
No
Who
problem.
does he remind you of sitting up
Memphis tangy hot,
Guy Fawkes?
homemade,
Remember on
homemade
Diners, Drive-Ins, and
from Sharon Vocal. And I gotta tell you,
Awesome sauce.
dude, I just want to take the lid off of this and drink it. Is it rude that I'm eating everything before anybody else gets here?
No, because we have.
Okay, good. Oh,
Wow.
sorry, I got a little carried away there.
I knew it was good, but damn, did you have to lose your load?
I know it was quick, but you know, I hope it was as good for you as it was for me.
You didn't even kiss me.
Wow, that's good stuff, dude.
We had
I'm telling you, you have a future.
Stay tuned next week for the 48-hour smoke.
Uh-huh. Oh, dude.
Quality control over here.
Dude. That barbecue sauce right there,
You like hot?
it's just barely spicy. It's damn fine. It's good smoke, I gotta tell you. I like it. I like it a lot.
I knew Chad was around the food.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Timmy takes care of us, dude. Every time. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. I need that. Okay, I'm gonna. How long till we eat lunch? Noon? So an hour? Oh, let's have an appetizer then before we go. Awesome sauce, big time. That's awesome. Okay, what kind of app? Ooh. Dude, they only have cheddar cheese crackers. I want the peanut butter ones with cheddar cheese.
Go to 2.5 and we'll be good. Hey Josh, can you come grab this tank and hold it level so I can get a measurement? Mike, eye this in.
Hold it level.
Yeah, how far is the guy coming to get level?
It won't really go any farther.
If you could build a mount, build a bracket around, because sometimes they're going to let it rotate, cause you to have to. So I glued, making little pieces, and I'm going to cut a little piece up here. Just keep
Excellent.
the heat out of the gas, and then I'm going to put one on the front too.
I ask not because I'm judging, but because I wanted to make sure that I didn't mark this off as already done when you haven't completed it, but you have not let me down, my friend.
Thank you, Mr. Taskmaster.
Oh no, I took it over. Scott Payton's ready to implode. I changed the colors of stuff
Nice.
on the spreadsheet. I mean,
What did you do?
it was blue for needs to be done, orange for finished, and I put pink in for in progress.
Nice. Makes sense, right?
Figured it was encouraging that way.
Yeah.
Can I buy you some trail mix?
No, thanks. No, I won't want any of your nuts.
Okay.
Is that all you do is eat? Talking is hard work.
I'm good at the eating. The barbecue, horrible. Stay away from it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I had dreams about the barbecue last night.
I did too. I had to clean up afterwards. Is it working?
Ready, go. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, what I was thinking there is that'd be best, I think, because your body, it's gonna fall on the body line instead of having something out in the middle.
Right.
And that way, I can do all this in one, trim this here so that falls down, and then we'll just do a piece to fill in inside there. Okay.
That's what I would do.
Good deal. I'll check the front end out real quick.
Okay.
Lower just the battery.
Is the all right, ladies and gentlemen, live online now, Lizard with Max tie downs in the chat window. So ask him about webbing, ask him about tie downs, ask him about how to properly secure your vehicle to the trailer. And also ask him about the sexiest thing ever used to install an engine. I'm talking about the Max pivot plate.
Picked it up and then it just went in and bolted onto the maybe what's going to hold that closeout down. That closeout actually. I don't think there's any here. Are they pretty close? Come in here and put a bolt. Yeah. Yeah. We're working on them. That would probably be the best bet for this. You know, both directions. Yeah. Yep. Let's make a plate.
So not going down to the frame?
Yeah. Just build a plate that bolts onto the two straps.
Yeah.
And then just goes back and bolts to the front of dash.
Yeah.
And you'll hold it this way and this way.
Yeah, and as long as those are both secure enough things, then it shouldn't go anywhere.
It won't go anywhere.
adapter fix.
Are we on? All right, we're here with Lizard from Max Tie Downs. So if you guys got any questions for Lizard, give us a hit in the tech chat line, and I'm going to hand the microphone over to Lizard, and he's going to tell us about his product.
Hey, well, thanks for joining us at the Corvette 48-hour build. We're here to support the build, and we've got a couple of key products that we're supplying them, one being the Max Pivot. Now, if you folks have ever done any engine swaps, you know how difficult it is, especially when you're trying to take an engine and transmission out. Most people will use a chain or some other form, and it becomes a real nightmare when you're trying to get the engine in and out of the vehicle. So what we have come up with at Max is our engine pivot, and we have several ways to use it. For the guys with standard carbureted systems, the Max Pivot will actually bolt right to the intake, and allows you to pull the engine out, and as you're pulling the engine out, you can change the angle up to 35 degrees angle change, and it makes life so much easier. Again, taking the engine out. Now, once you're putting the engine back in, now you can do it in one fell swoop, as you're going to see here in a little bit. And the great thing about this is that, especially for the guys that have detailed engine compartments, the last thing you want to be doing is scratching anything up, with a chain or anything else. So as you're putting the engine in, you'll be able to change the angle of the engine and transit that's going in to make life a lot easier, and that's done through a worm screw on the Max Pivot. Now, we also have adapters, as you're going to see on this particular one, for the LS engines. It bolts to the exhaust ports and makes it a lot easier. We also have adapter plates for the Fords, some of the other Chevrolets. We're working on some new products as well. We even have them for the old Ford flathead. So a little bit of everything for the enthusiast out there. Great. So Dodge Boys, the engine pivot is $160, and then the adapter plates start at $99.95 up to $160. In this particular case, the LS adapter is $160. So along with the on the lines of the products at Max tie downs, obviously we are your tie down solutions company. Whether you've got just any kind of race car to multi-million-dollar vehicle, sooner or later you're going to be trailering it, and you want to make sure you have the right equipment to trailer it with. Don't sell yourself short by purchasing something from the big box stores that isn't really designed for what you're doing. This is our business, and we've got track systems to help make your life a lot easier when tying, whether it's your street rod, your race car, muscle car, we've got it for you. We're one of the new products that we're actually doing at Max is our wheel nets. Now, the wheel nets make it a lot easier, especially when you have lowered vehicles, whether it's a Mustang, a Z06. Cars are really low to the ground, hard to get underneath them to attach to the frame or the suspension points. So several ways to go. One is the wheel nets, and we'll custom build you a wheel net. What we will need is some dimensions, how tall the tire is, how wide it is, and then distance center line to the attachment points. And those retail for $99.95. and we can make them. General lead time is a couple of weeks. We'll get them out to you, and that also includes with the new redesigned Max ratchet. And there's a little bit of information on our website with regards to how we've redesigned it to make it more user-friendly.
We've gotten several comments from people that love their Max pivot, and we've got a gentleman asking if you're going to be having a booth in Pleasanton at the end of the month.
Boy, we are not scheduled currently to do Pleasanton here at the end of the month. We will be at Pleasanton in October, as well as across the country. We'll be having a booth at quite a few different events. So at Max Tie Downs, we also do another very unique product. It's called the chassis stabilizer. The chassis stabilizer we've been making for many, many years, and what it's designed for is to reduce excess motion, heat that's being developed on your trailer in your race car, your vehicle. When you have it tied down, if you had a camera in the trailer, you'd see how much your car bounces. And so what the chassis stabilizer does, it actually goes underneath the vehicle, right under the cross member. Basically what you'll do is air it up, and what it does is it actually takes the load off your shocks and springs. Having been involved in NASCAR racing for many, many years, boy, I sure wish we would have had that. Would have saved ourselves a lot of grief, because the problem is by the time you get to the track, what happens is you've now overheated the shocks, you've aerated them, and they're not going to perform properly. So this is just a really unique piece for that. A lot of your NHRA Top Fuel guys, they will use these to help support the chassis of the dragsters. They actually found out the hard way that traveling across the country, they have so much flex in the chassis that they were actually cracking them. Well, with this device, it really 20 psi is all that it requires. We've got two different models, and it depending on the type of car you have will help support the chassis of the race car. So a lot of cool products. We're going to be at Easter Jeep Safari here in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to seeing all of our off-road friends out there. 2 years ago, we made a statement. We actually took Collins JK with the Hemi in it, Dynatracs, 40s, and using our wheel nets, we actually tied the vehicle down to the trailer through the wheel nets, and then we actually hung the trailer and the Jeep 50 feet in the air for a week. And we challenge anybody to do something of that nature. So, yeah. Cool. So online now we've got the Max Pivot, and you can see that this particular one we've got the LS adapter on it. It's bolted to the side to the exhaust port. And once the guys get ready to install it, you'll be able to see how well the mechanism works in order to get the angle for it. So very excited about being a part of the 48-hour Corvette build. Yeah, make sure that you come and visit us at the arena at Easter Jeep Safari. We'll have the crew there with all the product. Right now, you're going to get a chance to see the vehicle display that we did at Moab 2 years ago. Great times, and again, we made a statement about quality of Max products, all built in the USA. Beautiful Sagal, Idaho. Come visit us. Now there's the wheel net. There you go. There's your wheel net, and we custom build those for all applications. No matter how small, how big, we can do it.
That's pretty impressive, I bet. I don't care who you are.
It's great. I remember watching that a year ago or whatever. I was like, we gotta play this video when we have it on.
Yeah. Wow. Just one thing that says it'll hold your vehicle on a trailer.
That's about a $100,000 vehicle being hung from with the trailer no less. 50 feet in the air for a week. Easter Jeep Safari.
Been hung there for a week?
A week. Yeah.
That should explain it.
So from car tie downs to motorcycle tie downs, for your side-by-side, your Polaris RZR, Arctic Cats, we have you covered. Whether it's our 4-pack, Ultra Pack, Super Pack, or the Pro Pack, we've got a lot of quality kits that we built for you at Max Tie Downs. Surprise! Yeah. As you see the guys working on the build and they're under the car, you'll also see the new Max Mat. It's a great way for working under the car. It's a special design polypropylene material that works really well. It folds in half, so when you're done, you can store it behind the seat. And as well, if it gets any dirt or grease, just a little simple green, hose it off, and cleans right up. And another quality product from Max Tie Downs. Cool.
A good demonstration of that before too long.
There you go. For you JK owners, we have also another cool product. For the JK line, we have a really unique tote that goes in the back of the vehicle. It's extremely well built with locks. That way you can store all your necessities in there and valuables, and you can lock it. It's another cool product. And again, if you're building a custom trailer, we have the track systems, whether it's the VersaTrack, our E-Track, our A-Track, which is the aluminum version of the E-Track. We've got you covered. And because we are a U.S. company, no job is too big or too small. You need one, you need a dozen. We've got you covered. If you're building a special project and you need some custom straps or something special, don't hesitate to give us a call. We're here for you. Yeah, the storage box. Yep. So we'll be at Easter Jeep Safari. In April, and then we will then be following up with the big Portland swap meet for all you hot rodders at the Expo Center in Portland, Oregon. Do come out and see us either in the main hall or out on the racetrack. We'll be there for all your tie-down needs. And as well, on our website, we've got a lot of cool videos, how-to videos, tech videos, a little bit of everything, to give you ideas as far as how the product is made and how we, different means of tying the vehicles down to the trailers.
Sounds good to me. Well, I'm sure you've got other stuff to do. If you wanna, you're gonna be hanging around for a while. So if
Yep.
anybody's got any more questions, I'll send Chad over and.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of the Corvette 48-hour build. Thanks again.
Yep. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you later.
Go back to your chat and I'll rotate the jib around.
Half second? Half second? Good? Come on, half second. Where do I tap on this one? Anywhere? Just touch it.
Got to look good.
Yeah, let's get one more. Hold on a minute. Now, get up here. Let me get more of the card.
We can put some airline over it. We can heat up the end with some 3/8 airline and shove on there. It'll lock on there. Okay. Put a quick disconnect on it. Airline fitting in the bottom of it. Yeah, that's fine. So you found a way to light it up yet?
We're trying to figure it
Oh, okay. We had it lit up, but I don't remember how we did it. I think we just hooked it up direct.
You could probably power right to the green or white and get a higher low beam without the volume control. You need that's not. How to do that?
That's an LED light. It shouldn't take that much. That's why we're using LEDs.
This should be like that. We should be able to
Feed it directly and see if it'll light.
Yeah.
That'll tell you if it's got enough power.
So just ground it, and then power to either the green or the white or this thing here. We'll get off of that. Leave it. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, put those tabs there, buddy. Green. That should light that up.
You got all them high-tech big alligator clips there. It won't fit together.
The dime store clip.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna have to get a green. Let's get wires on that, Mike. Let's just put some wires on the end of it. Just put some wires.
Oh, I know where they are.
Just, jump into that white. Because that's the high beam and the question is why are they controlling the intensity of the high beam?
Yeah, and there's supposed to be a high and low beam too.
Yeah, it's high low beam, but then they have a micropod on it. It says that the volume knob is what they call it.
Were you able to
No, I didn't try that part of it. I just wanted to see it light up like all the rest of it.
I know. How much of that do you do?
Well, yeah, because the I was going to say, the more connectors, the more chance for ignition issues, and with the load that this thing will be under and all of that, that's important to consider. Plus, you start getting into more noise issues that you can get into, because one of the downsides to them being up here is they're designed to be with all the stuff on the engine, but you got electric fans on the radiator and all of those things, and you and I have both seen that kind of issue cause people to chase their tails a lot. So
you don't want the RF.
no, not even a little bit.
We'll figure out someplace up where to come.
Yeah. that a low spot still?
Yeah. Said they'd see it when they put the wrap on.
Oh, okay.
Straighten it out a little more.
How was it?
Fantastic. I got to
Good.
hit the road because I got to go catch a plane
Oh,
up in Indy.
okay. Gotcha.
Thank you so much.
No,
what a
thank
pleasure
you.
to meet you in person. You're a character.
Oh,
And
man,
that's
I
all.
appreciate it. Well, and I'm glad you
Thank
got
you.
to be involved. You know. I'm happy for you guys. I think a lot of what you guys do. So, huh? Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I know. And it's the little stuff.
The little pulley to put your straps under. I said,
Yeah.
whoever
The idler
Oh,
pulley.
yeah.
Oh, we did a
and
really nice little
and the
promo
fact
deal.
that the end of the strap where you feed it through the ratchet has the little flap hanging off, so that they don't just yank out when you're trying to do. Yeah, so you can still get it out when you want to. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And you're laying under the stupid thing. God, I hate you guys. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm about to show you my ass if you keep blinding me with that thing. People. Wow. Blinded by the light.
Yep.
Hey, I was gonna ask you why you didn't put 2 in, and that's why. Wow. Oh, me too. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yes. Did you see this? Bill's post on Facebook is awesome. Look closely at the photo. Holding the broom. Oh no, yeah, and those are, man. And they take like a couple amps.
A lap when the lights went out or when the sun went down. I couldn't see anything.
No, and they put a chicane in that didn't exist before
Oh,
in
yeah.
an area where there was no light at all. Actually, you're right, the one on the front stretch too.
Yeah.
Yeah, blind, like way bad.
That must be the high beam.
That's nothing. That's a blank.
It's a blank. It's only one light.
Oh, it's okay. All right. So let's.
Wow, that's bright. That's awesome.
That's why they cost more than my first car.
Yeah. How much are those?
$1,000 a pair.
Holy. That's why there's only one pair too.
That's right. Damn right.
When you hit that, John, do all the lights come up?
Yeah.
So that means if you high beam, there should be just that much more.
You want to talk about the aluminum boxes they were asking about in the rear, inside? Okay, if you want to back up and. Good enough for government work. Yes.
All right, I'll let you guys get to this for a while.
Perfect, right there. All right, folks in the chat were asking about these aluminum boxes that are on both sides. In the car originally, the battery would have been on that side, on the driver's side over here. But we've moved it to the passenger side for better weight distribution. And we've created these 2 boxes for 2 reasons. One reason is so that we have a really good mounting surface for all of the American Auto Wire fuse panel and all of that setup over there, and a nice place to be able to mount it where it's not just screwed into fiberglass. The other advantage to this is, should we have a half shaft failure in this car, this aluminum reinforcement is going to protect the fiberglass a little bit more, where it's not going to just want to crush in. It's a safety feature as much as anything. We've also put similar aluminum panels on the floorboards under the passenger and driver's feet, just as an added protection deal. So those boxes were made as panels, fitted together with some marks, and then welded together and slid right in there, and they're a nice piece. So that's the reason for the aluminum boxes, and they should work really, really good. And then the front ones, again, covered with boom mat. It's more heat shield, it's more protection, all of those things. And you can see we use a lot of boom mat in this car to keep the heat and the noise out as much as possible, which also gives that vintage era even better environment to work in. I'm over here with Rick. Oh, Rick, you're running away. I was going to talk to you about the power steering pump that comes with the front runner. Because of this application having such tight clearances on the frame rails, the unit with the reservoir built in, which works for most muscle cars, just going to have some interference issues here. So what are you guys going to do to solve that?
We have an optional pump with a remote reservoir, and I'm thinking that's probably what we're going to have to end up doing. We're going to wait until we get the engine dropped in the car and kind of confirm that, but at this point it looks like the attached reservoir is going to be a packaging issue. The Corvettes are so narrow between the control arms that that's one of the issues here, especially this generation. 63 right up on is pretty narrow between the control arms, and then you put those strong arms on there with the adjust. So we got the good heavy bushings, and that adds a little more to it. So I think that's not going to work, but we'll confirm it once we get the motor sitting in the car. But we've got a remote reservoir pump that'll work with that.
But for the people that are at home that decide they just want a remote reservoir for whatever reason, that's an option when they order their system.
Yeah, and again, if you're using a power steering cooler, in a lot of cases that's the way to go. Use a remote reservoir, that way you can pump it through the power steering cooler as well. So that's always an option in any case. And the one reason that we always tend to recommend the attached reservoir in a lot of cases is it's just one less thing you've got to worry about packaging, and especially in this car, that's turned into such a big deal. Everything has got to be packaged. So.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that, you guys are technically behind schedule on our spreadsheet because you're now waiting. Stock, but if you want it to be more custom, there's a million options.
Yeah, there's a lot of options available, but the bracketry to mount the unit, the actual evaporator inside the car is going to be a bolt-in, so a lot of those parts are going to come in handy. You're way ahead of starting with this than you would be with universal components, so
right.
That's a good thing there.
Well, and I know we're going to talk about the air conditioning in more detail later, but one of the things too is that this system is incredibly efficient compared to the stock system.
Yeah, you get a lot more CFM, a lot more airflow out of this system that you do out of the stock system. And we've really developed some new parts that really help the performance and yet keep the look of that stock system. In fact, one of the things we've got brand new now is we've developed a new double vent
that's a multiple piece metal piece that we're producing now that really mimics the stock upper control, the upper louvers.
Right.
And it's going to bolt right in and give you these. This is a problem with a lot of the Corvettes. These vents didn't survive well over time. So we basically did a whole panel now that's included with the kit that gives you the look of the stock Corvette, but you get a lot more performance out of it. Larger 2.5-inch duct hoses to feed it, so you get more airflow through it. So again, you're gaining efficiency and still kind of keeping the look, the original look.
Well, and with that increase in efficiency, it can be 110 degrees out and 90% humidity, and this little cabin right here is going to be ice cold.
The key, though, is just like any other car. The key is keeping heat out. If you can't keep the heat out, the best air conditioning system in the world is not going to cool the car. It's like running your air conditioner at the house and leaving the windows open. And it's the same thing. If you can't keep that heat out, system isn't going to work real well. So that's one of the things we're trying to focus on this as well, is make sure the weather stripping is good. Make sure we get some insulation in the floor. Make sure you get good insulation on the firewall so that you can try to keep that engine heat out so that the air conditioner can do a better job of cooling you inside.
Which is also a challenge in this Corvette because everything, again, packaged so tightly that heat has been an issue in these cars. Traditionally, if you bought a big block car, they're horrible. I mean, they literally on a long trip or in stop and go on power tour or something are cooking your feet in this car.
Yeah.
Done your Terminator, and that box is an HP box, fully tunable.
It's got the nitrous controllers already in it. It's got all the features in it. And so basically it's the same ECU, but you don't need a laptop to do it with the Terminator.
Right.
But down the road, if you want to upgrade or add something to it, or even go multi-point, you can use that same ECU, get the software, no code required, get the software, plug it in, and tweak it, tune it, change it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, at no additional charge, which is awesome. And you mentioned the nitrous controllers. You can also plug in progressive control with them. I mean, and don't forget, Holley is also NOS nitrous. So I'll give you an example of one thing you can do with this, and we've done this on Daphne's car. We are just getting ready to do the final configuration now that we have it running NA, so to speak. We've put an NOS plate under it. And on a typical NOS 4150 plate, the fuel spray bar and the nitrous spray bar have the same size holes and the same spacing. So we are actually feeding nitrous to both sides of the plate, and we are staging the nitrous, even though we're only doing 150 or 200
so you
shot.
Want a dry shot.
A dry
and bring
shot.
the fuel in with the
EFI.
With the EFI.
Yes.
And the beauty of that is you can do those dry shots. And run closed loop.
Yes.
So it'll hit your air fuel ratio with the nitrous with dry shot.
And that means you don't risk screwing it up and blowing things up.
Correct.
And the cool thing too is that the Terminator is now available in 2 sizes, and when I say that, the throttle body's the same, but the injectors are different.
Yeah, that's coming.
Yes,
that's coming. Yeah,
on its way, folks, and I'll let you know. 680 horsepower is
and a lot
what the
of people want. I don't want to
standard
tell them it's available.
Oh no, it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming.
The standard does 680 horsepower is what the standard will hold.
Yep.
Then the new one is going to be 850 or so.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of interest in E85 and in higher horsepower.
Right.
So with E85, they want to flow more area, more fuel, and then the higher horsepower also. So we had a lot of interest in that. So
it's going to be cool, folks. So Robin's going to walk over and get on the chat window. Tune in. We got good stuff coming from Holley. Thanks, dude. Yeah, head over there. They'll take care of you. We may be actually mounting those through holes in the quarter panel. So the knob is sticking.
we're here with Robin Lawrence from Holley. If you guys have some questions for Robin Lawrence, log on to 48hourcorvette.com and hit up the tech chat room. Type us up a question, and I'll read them to Robin. He'll get you an answer. Robin, are you ready?
I think we are as ready as we'll ever be. It all depends. With the HP, you're going to be limited to 4 inputs and 4 outputs. So because you're going to want to run our boost controller, which we have internal boost controller in either HP or the Dominator, what I would probably recommend going the Dominator, and that way you have 34 inputs and 34 outputs, so you can log a lot more items, as well as run your boost control, as well as run drive-by-wire if you have a drive-by-wire on that LSX.
A couple of guys saying hi to Robin. Guys, let's get some questions going. Got a good opportunity here to learn from the best.
That's awesome. No questions. It's awesome. Dodge Boys, Kirk, Armida. Dead air. Oh, yeah, the harnesses for the Gen 3 Hemis. Yes, we have 2 different harnesses. They are both non-VVT. One is for a 5.7 and one is for a 6.1. They utilize the stock Hemi coils. The real differences between the 5.7s and the 6.1s are basically the cam and crank sensors, and then some of the injector and coil harnesses. So, but the base harnesses are on the shelf. The coil harnesses are on the shelf. The all the late model Hemi stuff without the VVT is available and ready to ship. As far as good bass tunes, I've not had. I believe that some of the other guys have some tunes available for the Hemi, depending on what you have. I've got some stock eliminator stuff, but no real. In my possession, I don't have any real stock tunes, but some of the guys in engineering have some tunes. We've been playing with those the Hemis on the dyno at Holley, so I'm sure we have something that could go into a stock type Hemi. Okay. All right. Somebody said new stuff coming. Lots of new stuff coming. We're working on V4 right now, which is an advanced ICF features, which have a lot of very cool stuff I really can't even talk about at this point in time, but it's going to take Holley EFI to another level. In a ProCharge boost application on LSS, how much boost is safe in a tall cast intake? I assume you're talking about our Holley high ram, and really I've not really seen a limit on that. I would say that the sky's the limit. Probably 30 pounds would not be a problem on that on that high ram. Eric's asking, is it possible to adapt a fast square bore throttle body to a Holley Dominator harness CM? Yes. They do use some different sensors. You might have to change some of the connectors, but we've had guys upgrade and use other people's throttle bodies and anything from a AccuFab to a fast, and has no problem. Matthias asks, LSB takes 15 psi. LS is, I can't see that one. I don't understand. I'm going to scroll that one again. Well, I mean, basically, EFI is very generic, and so, whether it's Ford or Pontiac or Dodge or Oldsmobile, I mean, as long as you can get me a crank sensor or a cam sensor, And you know, a lot of this stuff is very, very configurable in the Holley system. So we can run pretty much, you know, any old school type of engine, as long as we have a cam or crank sensor or some sort of input for the ignition to kick the EFI. The Ford is very, very close. We've got a Mustang test vehicle that we've been playing with. That's pretty close to being done. The Nag is still a little ways out. We're still looking to work on the Nag transmission for the Mopars, but that is on our list of things to do. Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of 427 Ford Windsors. Rick Anderson, one of the EFI technical sales reps, has a drag week 427 Windsor with a Vortex supercharger that runs 870s. So we bleed Ford over there. So we have a module that will plug into the thin film Ford distributor, which makes it plug and play for a Ford. So yeah, no problem with the Ford, and we do support that stuff. We are actually set to release a Holley version of a dual sync distributor. We've designed some electronics unique to work with our Holley EFI, so those will be a plug and play deal where you drop it in and line it up to the proper location. And so in a street application, I don't have any problem with that. In a race application, RPM and crank flex or camshaft flex, a crank trigger is always better. But you know, up to 800-900 horsepower, a dual sync works just fine. You know, let's see, what do we have? Best method triggering and fuel injection. Somebody's asking about best method triggering and fuel injection stock Pontiacs from 64 to 79. Crank trigger, flying wheel. I would just use a distributor negative input off the coil to go ahead and do that. I would run a batch fire and run a coil trigger input and leave the distributor alone on the Pontiac and let the Holley run the fuel side and use the distributor for the ignition side. JD's asking about crank trigger, wheel flexing, losing signal. You know, we see that in a lot of different applications, from LSs that have aftermarket cranks and blocks. We see that with elector wheels. We've seen that in some high horsepower situations. If you don't have a sturdy, strong bracket on your crank sensor, you're going to possibly have deflection or flex. So you know, the higher the horsepower, the more you have to be. You have to go after having a very stiff crank sensor mounting point. Dodge Boys on the Dominator. Dodge Boys asks, on the Dominator EFI, does it start as fast as an OEM car, or does it take a few revolutions to pick up the signal? We have a new feature called Quick Start, which has significantly shortened the crank time because our ECU is very configurable. We look for a cam sense before we fire some of these applications. Quick Start has solved that, so basically, yes, it starts extremely quick, you know, almost as quick as an OEM car. Yes, we actually have you know, several out there. Rick Anderson has worked with a couple people running dual terminators. We've got several different show cars running dual terminators, guys. We don't have a plug-in harness yet. The harness has been custom built to work with the dual terminator, but actually we are working on a harness to release to do that, and that should be coming out shortly. Somebody asked the part number for a Dominator ECU is 554-114. I don't know. Well, some of them, yes. Don't quiz me on all of them. I'll lose. We're actually very shortly releasing a lot more Terminator part numbers. They'll be Dominators, which in the past the Terminator has been limited to an HP ECU, so you would not have a transmission control. So we'll have a Terminator that you can basically bolt on to a 4-barrel 4150 type manifold, but yet you'll have a 4L60, 4L80 transmission control Terminator. Also, we're coming out with Terminators that will be plug and play on LS engines. So if you have an LS 5.3 or a 4.8 or any LS crate engine, you'll be able to plug a Terminator ECU, which has the handheld, and then a canned tune that you plug in and to your LS engine, and basically plug and play, no laptop required. I have a Surface, Microsoft Surface 2, and I have used it extensively in tuning, recording data logs, supporting different efforts, and the Surface 2 is great. It works wonderful. I don't like it because when I'm on the network I can't print, but that's a side issue. But the Surface 3 is a little bit bigger. You start to lose a little bit of being able to see some of that stuff at my age, but the Surface 2 works great. So the Surface 3 should also. There's a few little quirks here and there, but with the Holley, I've had no issues at all. Yes, there's two ways we can do this. The HP or the Dominator, we have a auxiliary harness that plugs into the main harness, and you can either fire LS coils, which are readily available out there, or you can use our 103 millijoule Holley HP coils, which are very high performance. So either way, we have complete harnesses that will get you to run individual coils on a Ford, on a Pontiac, anything you want. As long as you have a cam signal. We do have to have a cam signal. No. That we're working on VBT. I think the Coyote will be the first VBT. We've already got most of the work done on the GM VBT and the Mopar, but they are coming, and that will probably be out toward the end of the year.
All right, guys, got any more questions while we're at it?
It should be the other way around.
They must be getting a little farther on the car. I noticed we were looking at a shot of our Holley parts a minute ago, and somebody came by and snatched one.
Oh, okay. They grabbed it. Yeah, I gotta watch that. I think they're trying to fit some harnesses and maybe ECU. Okay.
Is that what they're doing here on screen?
Oh, yeah. Well, the ECU would have been inside the car, and they were trying to figure out where to mount the ECU, I believe. All right, we got Dodge Boys. Can Dominator be set to have an easy switch to change between tunes, one for economy, one for performance? There's a tune selector switch, and I believe it's a 5-position that you can use on the Dominator to have different programs load, and that is available at this point in time.
Kirk wants to know how he can trigger cam signal on a Pontiac block from 64 to 79 if he upgraded to the Holley system.
All right, and Kirk says he can't hear amber on the cam signal on a Pontiac block. A couple ways you can do it. You can basically put a crank trigger on it, and then you can put a distributor in that you have only one reluctor. You can knock all the 7 other reluctors off of a distributor and make that your cam sensor. So there's several different ways you can do that. The race cars with belt drives can put a magnet in the belt drive. Okay. unincorporated aftermarket gauges, speed, tack, oil, and so on. You can basically, we have our own dash. You have customizable outputs that you can go ahead and output to different sensors, and so you can basically configure them. You really can't say a blanket what you can do on aftermarket gauges, but a lot of people are, some of the different companies, Classic Instruments and Dakota Digital, are looking at reading our information from our CAN signal and grabbing some of the engine functions into their custom dashes. Things like that. Race Pack has a feed dash that's fed by our CAN signal also. You want to read that one, Doug?
Doug has a stock 5.3 with a single 76mm turbo, playing on 710 psi of boost. Should he choose 330 CI 40 psi turbo V3?
We have a really nice tune in our software that Doug Flynn had used on his drag week car, and it was basically an LS3 style engine with a turbo in that range, and I think that one has the boost control set up, transmission control set up. I think that program is in our ECU. It's a 376 turbo water meth transmission control drive-by-wire program. I'd start with that.
Kirk wants to say thanks, and then he's looking up stuff to convert his 68 new stuff. Randy is looking for a quick start option available for download or upgrade for his HP system.
Yeah, basically all the software is online at Holley.com, and so you would just basically upgrade the software, and the quick start is in that software.
JD likes Dodge Boys' question about the quick change tune option.
Yeah, we have that switch. I mentioned that we have I believe it's 5 selector switch for different tunes. Yeah, we have some people that want to run E85 at one point in time and then switch over to pump gas when they're available, and then others with race gas situations. So that switch is available, and it'll hold several tunes.
So what kind of goodies are you putting on the Corvette today?
Well, one, it's a drive-by-wire, so we run the harness for the drive-by-wire. We will probably be trying to figure out where to mount the ECU. I've already done a couple preliminary files for the ECU. We're also going to pulse width modulate a SPAL fan, and then we have the fuel pump that we also will be controlling their controller, kicking their controller. So we've been kind of laying out some of the wiring and what we're going to end up talking about as far as some of the different interacting with the different other components with the Holley EFI.
Matt wants to know if Larry Larson runs a Dominator on his S10.
No. He runs somebody else's system.
All right, this gentleman, that would be Eric. Eric wants to know, do you guys have any plans on offering custom harness links?
Well, basically, we have what's called an unterminated harness that's available. It is loose leads that are 15 feet long. This is a custom harness that you really have to have some wiring expertise to use. We offer it for custom installations. I used one on my Nova to put my Dominator ECU on the B pillar on the passenger side. So, it's a loose leads of 15 feet. You would lay out your harness and run all your individual wires and remove the ones that you don't run, but that's what we have for custom applications such as that.
Dodge Boys is back with a question about the Dominator. Will it send a signal to analog gauges, or do they need to be converted to digital?
Well, we output on CAN, and there are several different ways we can output. I really don't know the answer to that question about the gauges. I'd have to do some research on that. We'll try and capture some information and get back to Dodge Boys on that. Yeah, Tom Bailey runs Dominator on his drag week car.
Armida wants to know if you'll be offering a webinar for Holley training in the future.
Holley has internal training at Holley available to shops and some customers. And get a hold of your Holley tech rep or one of the Holley sales guys for a schedule on that. We bring about 10 to 15 people in at these sessions. We have 3 different tiers, tier 1, 2, and 3, and they are taught on expertise. But we offer those throughout the year free of charge, but you'll have to get to Bowling Green, Kentucky to attend those classes, and most of them are a 2-day class. Tom Kais is the one that teaches those classes at Holley. So just get a hold of one of your Holley reps, and they can get you a schedule and possibly, get you involved in the training at Holley.
JD asks if you can add a second O2 sensor on HP EFI with some sort of adapter. If so, what one does he need?
No, not one that will interact with our closed loop learn or closed loop functions. You can put a second O2 into the HP to record that function on a 0 to 5 volt reference. Daytona Sensors makes some nice O2 type recording or reporting type hardware. I've got them on my Nova, but no, it won't interact with the closed loop. You would need a Dominator for that.
Dodge Boys wants to know if the software able to be updated over time as you release better software in the next 10 years?
Yes, I mean, we're always doing updates. You can look at the Holley website and for the downloads for the latest software or firmware updates. And as far as next 10 years, we got a lot of plans for different product and different platforms for the next 10 years. So stay tuned on that.
PCH Rods wants to know, do you recommend the Dominator or the HP ECU and harness for a 408 stroked LQ9 LS with a Magnuson blower with 225 PSI of boost?
If you're not using up a lot of inputs and outputs, an HP would do the trick. There's no boost control involved. It's a plug and play on the LQ9, and HP will work just fine. If you want the extra features of inputs and outputs, for data logging or other strategies, then the Dominator will be the way to go.
Good deal, man. There's a lot of good questions coming in today.
A fair amount of very good questions.
Come on, Van. We see you typing.
You can see typing. That's awesome. Oh, the transferring.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. There's the part. Van looked up the part number for the tune selector switch. I didn't know that one by heart, so I knew the Dominator, but not that one.
PCH Rob says, I appreciate the input there, Robert.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
I really was looking out for you. I didn't want the wrap to go on there.
Okay, I/O harness turn signal speedometer be available in the new digital dash. They're working on it right now, so I can't give a date. The engineering guys will kill me, so I can't give a date. But they'll complain because I task them or ask them to help out in certain areas, and I take them away from what they're really supposed to be doing. So. Yeah, GPS, G meters, we're all...
Andrew wants to know if you can please elaborate on how they plan to run the fans via PWM. Will you be using the C3 Corvette fan controller?
No, it's a SPAL controller of some kind, and all it wants is a PWM. I went ahead and worked on the PWM table this morning, and that's configurable in the Holley. We have several different PWM outputs,
and we can probably post a picture of that at some point in time. I don't know where we can post that, but there's a process that we set up within the Holley that will run the PWM, and it looks at two different axes. It looks at RPM and it looks at engine temperature for PWMing the fans. But no, I don't believe it's a C6 controller.
Dodge Boys has got a question that I have myself. Is there any benefit to using drive-by-wire over a cable throttle body?
Drive-by-wire is just cleaner. It doesn't have that cable. It's just there's really no downside to that at all, except for the extra wires. But I think it's cleaner. I think it's a much neater setup.
Kirk wants to know why aftermarket companies always do it better than the OEMs.
Well, I mean, OEMs have a different focus. We focus in different areas, and the OEMs, it's a much different focus or goals are a lot different than what we're trying to do. And we're trying to have a cost-effective unit that can be used in the aftermarket, and they've got a room full of 100 or 200 engineers working on every little drivability aspect and emissions and things like that. So it's a whole different focus.
That makes a lot of sense. Looks like Eve's coming in with a question.
Easier cruise control. Yeah, cruise control is a can of worms, especially with drive-by-wire and some of the different systems out there. There's there's a lot of opportunity to have issues, and so what was that the unintended acceleration they had several years ago on some of those cars. But yeah, that's something that's on the radar. I don't know where we're going to go with a cruise control at this point in time.
Andrew wants to know, with the BBW, you can also program the rate the throttle body's open via a table with pedal travel versus throttle blade opening?
Yeah, you can basically, have wide open throttle on the foot feed and only have it open 50 or 80%. So you can play games with how much it opens. Eve says the fan is brushless. The Holley has the proper signal running the brushless fan. Yes, we do. We've already tested that. We've got strategies for that. Not a problem. Will Datsun 540ZS, will cruise control be on this setup? No, it will not. Oh, Andrew's making a statement. Okay.
Looks like Dodge Boys is going to have another one for us.
Uh-oh.
He's got a lot of good questions today.
Yes, that's a very good question. I think the only one I couldn't answer was some of the gauge outputs.
Randy wants to know if cruise control will be adapted to the HP system.
Not that I know of at this point in time. Yeah, these guys want cruise control, don't they?
It does come in handy.
Yeah, it does.
All right, if you guys got any more questions for Robin, now's the time. Let us know.
Quieter out there. They're eating. Okay. Kirk is asking, I know the Holley has done things with roadkill, but have you dealt with the guys from roadkill, and are they really... That's not very nice. I have dealt with the guys from Roadkill at numerous times, and Mike Finnegan, Dave Freiberger, and let's just say they're very entertaining. They get a lot done in a very short period of time, and they have a hell of a lot of fun doing it. And every time I hang out with them, it's awesome. So, if we were involved in some of the other builds on there, and with Mike Finnegan and David, and it's really cool stuff.
Did you do the tune in the LS7 and the Crusher Camaro?
I worked with the guys over at Mast. It was a Mast engine, and they had not used the Holley EFI previously, so I worked with them on the tune, and they did the tune. So I actually just helped them learn more about the Holley, and they acclimated to it very well, and it turned out very well. They're very smart, a bunch of guys down there, and they like the Holley.
Dodge Boys wants to know, should the ECU have an input for running AC, and does it support or run the compressor?
There is an input for AC kick at this time, not with a PWM, but with a standard. We have an input for an AC kick, but and we can do outputs to run the compressor or strategies, but you'll have to set those up. It is not a canned setup at this point in time.
Gert's got a theme going on here.
They're different focuses on those groups. So it's really hard to compare the two, Roadkill and RideTech. So.
Boy, it's just gotten really quiet over there. Jimmy wants to know, is there a returnless fuel supply setup compatible with your systems?
Yeah, actually this car has a returnless system that will be used, and it's actually, who is it? I can't remember who's our fuel system supplier on this. Anyway, they're using a controller and a LS a ZR1 style pump, I believe, and VaporWorks. That's it, VaporWorks pump, and they're going to PWM it, and they will be reading the pressure sensor, and we will be just basically activating the pump. We won't be the controller. We won't be doing the PWMing or responding with the information to the controller. But VaporWorks has that independent system that will be doing the returnless system.
Here's a question. Do you have a system that will support a V12 with dual throttle bodies on boost?
Well, wow. First of all, I'm working with several different guys on some V12 applications. And, we do handle boost. We do handle dual throttle bodies. And, what was interesting is if you were going to run boost with a dual throttle body and with a V12, we would run one Dominator ECU, and then we would run an HP ECU. We would run the V12 almost like two 6-cylinder engines, and we'd have there's a couple different ways of doing it, and we'd run the throttle bodies, the drive-by-wire throttle bodies, the dual throttle bodies through the Dominator ECU.
All right. Sebastian says, is boost control time-based, or can you select what you want?
You can select what you want. Time-based, or you can have a gear-based. There's many different strategies in the boost control.
Rob at PCH Rods wants to know if you have a throttle cable bracket setup for the Holley mid-rise intake on the LS.
I don't know. He shows a picture. Can you scroll that picture or not?
I can enlarge it over here.
Okay. I believe we have a bracket for that top. So it would work on the high ram or the mid ram. And I do believe we have a bracket that goes with the throttle cable on that. I would call the Holley tech line, or email me at Holley, and I can go ahead and get a part number for you.
All right.
Nice car.
Kirk wants to know, what's the strangest application you've seen the Holley EFI used on? I think strange is probably a relative term.
It is. Hayabusas. Hayabusas. We've got some guys using them on Rolls Royces. What else? Guys are using them on cranes. So industrial applications. We've got guys putting them on forklifts for industrial applications. So it's very surprising where we've seen some of these things show up. Two-cylinder lawnmower pulling tractors.
Really?
Yeah, it's just wild. Yeah.
Well, we're getting the flag that's going to be our last question for the day. I'm sure we'll have more later when you're doing your tune. So I'll announce them to Chad later, and we'll get everybody's questions answered. Thanks for joining us today, and
thanks for the
giving
opportunity.
us all the info.
A lot of great questions. Thank you very much.
No, I'm doing TV. Big thanks to Holley for joining us in the chat, and all you guys that are live. Awesome questions. I know Robin is wore out. We're going to give him a break for a while. In the meantime, I'm going to eat me some lunch. There's one thing that we don't calculate in the 48 hours, and that is the fact that we really eat well. The RideTech Bar and Grill here is open all day for snacks, but we do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And today, it's the pork shoulder. Pulled pork that was smoked for 10 hours yesterday. So you guys check out all the other people eating while I make a plate. Yeah, stand out of the way. Oh wait, bun.
You're skipping.
I know, I'm about to screw up. Well, I'm gonna have a pulled pork sandwich with a side of meat. Is that okay?
That's what I did.
Okay, excellent. Just making sure that we're all on the same page. The coleslaw is wonderful? Okay, I heard the coleslaw was wonderful. I wasn't kidding about the side of meat, by the way. Okay, and we have homemade barbecue sauce from Miss Sharon Vocal. So I'm getting it on. While Sweet Baby Ray's may be okay for normal people, not gonna work for Chad. Oh yeah. It isn't. It's a full-time job, my friend. A full-time job. Ooh. Damn, what to do. Okay, now I'm going to have to reconnoiter because I didn't realize we had potato salad and coleslaw. I got to double up here. Oh, yeah. Okay, do you guys all approve of the barbecue?
Yes, absolutely.
Your wife, by the way, makes phenomenal barbecue sauce.
Actually, I think Albert made this.
No, I was told she made the barbecue sauce.
And she can't even be here to enjoy it. She's still puking and heaving and shit.
No way, she's sick today?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's not good. And we won't call her and tell her how good it is.
Home and get the kids and take them to school.
Oh, right. That's a horrible deal. Well, we'll enjoy it for her. I'll tell you what, one thing your guys got to love, even the ones that aren't on the build team, is that they get to eat really good this week.
Oh, we eat like this all the time.
That's not fair. Nobody else wants to hear that. Everybody else in the industry does not eat this good.
We eat like this all the time.
This pork, is this your
You guys enjoying thoroughly? Yeah?
Come see Chad.
I'm gonna sit over here with Joe real quick. I'm gonna grace you with my presence, oh bearded one.
I think I'm gonna be cutting it here soon.
Are you?
I don't think I can handle on the heat.
Oh, when it gets hot, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Texas is gonna be hot.
Yeah. Probably.
So I figured I'd let this be my last hurrah.
There you go.
I decided I really wanted to do it.
Good?
It's good.
I go all the way out,
And did you get the cornbread yet?
Uh-uh.
It's like vanilla cake. It is so good.
Really?
It'd be worth it.
It's Albert and Tim are the ones doing it.
And the thing is, why do we all eat at that crappy like food stand every time we go? You know?
Uh-huh.
I really enjoy the fabrication the most.
But he was saying the prep time for it would be, you know, he started on Monday.
Right. He's supposed to be coming today. Jimmy and Saroja.
Oh, yeah? Have you ever, I was just asking them, have you ever had, you're not really from Indiana, but
You're good there. The gym arm's fine.
Bring your gloves?
No, I didn't. Totally spaced it here. Trim inside and then come around. I mean, I'm not redoing it over there.
And then that would hide the seam anyway. So.
We got a bunch of these if you want to stand on. Do you? Awesome. Yeah, I might use one for time. Thanks, sir.
deal, dude.
Last thing we have to do.
Do what?
I said one less thing we have to do.
Right here? Probably not too bad right there. Actually, if it come over just a scope. Well, hold on, where are you going to put, oh, we can put this slides around a little bit, right? Better. Let me see where I want to put that. I'm liking it right about there. You want me to hold it right there? You need to mark anything? It can come over a little bit towards the center of the hole. It can. Not too far. Yeah.
That's the most travel I have.
Right there will work. Okay. Is this your only adjustment right here? I really want to try that thing out and see how that master is. You gonna change the pads on this thing? Foot pads? Yeah. No, I mean the the pedal pads. The smaller ones on.
What I'll try and do in the car when I get back to my place.
very top. Or no, I'm sorry. In that top row. Go to the left side by that little silver thing.
Here, just I don't know. I don't want this to stick to anything. Before you get the big stuff in there.
What guys are telling the other things they're trying to do for this. And finishes the wire, I think.
We're going to just knock the headlights off and get the wires done so we can get them all, so we can get locations. Then we just know it's been this part.
Wait until you're backing up there now. Stick it away there. Oh, you're good. You're good. No worries. All good. Ryan, I think Josh needs to paint that firewall where we are. It's going to be the hardest part of the job around the sail panels.
So hard.
Yeah.
He hits a lot of curves.
A lot of curves, a lot of compound curves.
Yeah.
get it out. What, you got to plug it in? The other piece of the bulkhead, but we don't use it all. That's
Somebody said I'm on 5. Now you got me? You got me now? Okay. All right. Now they can hear me talk.
Now they can hear you talk.
All right. All right, so we got paint coming for the firewall to patch all the little hole thingies there.
Correct. Doing a little preventative maintenance ahead of time here, doing a little fitment, things that'll work a little easier when the motor's not in my way.
Okay. What's the stud sticking out of there? Is it, well, that one. Can that go away? That probably used to mount the old windshield wiper motor.
Right now we're just kind of leave it there in case we want to mount that tank off of it.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Watch
Okay.
your fingers when you're in the grinding.
Okay.
We made a support bracket here to reinforce the new throttle pedal plate because the new low car pedal has quite a bit of spring pressure on it.
Gotcha.
So we needed to reinforce that.
Okay. What about these holes up here?
I believe the reservoir, one reservoir tank is going here, one reservoir tank is going here.
Reservoir for what?
Transmission overflow.
Oh, okay. Well, if nothing else, we can make a plate to cover them, so no big deal. Okay. And then the dry sump tank, we're getting a fitting or something made for that.
I have it made. We ran into a little bracket problem. I'm going to address it after. I don't want to hold up anymore. I'll work around the motor. We'll set it
Okay.
in.
Okay.
Got, slave cylinder, reservoir, transmission overflow, and the breather tank for the feeder. It's all got to go here, but we don't know where the motor's at.
Okay. So what? When are we going to put the motor in?
Hour.
An hour?
An hour.
So about 2 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. Motor goes in.
Try that.
How's that deal working out from Bowler?
Legs don't do that.
Yeah, my knee popped out.
Ow.
Works really nice. The nice thing about it is it's keyed.
Oh yeah. And
And it's keyed to fit into the C-bar bracket.
yeah. And I think he's got a little weld-on bracket for an automatic car if your car doesn't have a Z-bar. I think he was telling me that. Yeah, just heat that up a little bit. 9/16 socket on a ratchet. I bet there's one right down there. Yeah, just take a propane torch and heat that up and shove it on there, and it'll form itself around it.
I'm gonna hand this right back to you.
Here, I'll take it.
I want him to give me the bolts.
You got him now.
Black.
Paint the heads of it.
Yeah.
I've got a big firewall painted all black.
It'll disappear. If we can't give him anything better to look at, that's a whole different problem.
I was just trying to do it now before it was buried behind the motor, you know?
I heard that.
Give me 1 second to get this.
So you let here motor at 2 o'clock?
Motor at 2 o'clock. Yep.
Is this thing locked in here somewhere?
Now it is.
You
Good?
floor mounted toolbox right there.
Sweet. Yeah, easily. Pull that thing off now.
Pull what off? Okay, we can pull the rod off. I thought we were bound on that edge, but this Heims out here doesn't have a lot of play in it.
Transmission and cross member, we got all that all ready to go?
Yep.
No, the drive shaft loop has to be put in before this goes in, I was told.
Drive shaft goes back
okay.
through the loop.
Yeah, it bolts up through there, some hole, some visit Snyder.
Greg knows all about that. He built all that stuff.
I got an emergency 911 before motor goes in, something has to go in there, and I don't know what it is other than a loop.
I don't know that either.
Is he taking his nap right now, or where's Schneider at? Because we don't want to interrupt his nap because he gets crabby.
I don't know the answer to that.
I'll see. I won't wake him up if he's napping.
Actually, he's right there.
Room above that
Right there.
bulkhead connector to where we get the MSD
Hey.
stuff through.
Drive shaft.
Above the bulkhead where the
Said drive shaft's got to go
See
in
why
that
there would
through
be
that
the
before
MSD or the
transmission goes in. Is this correct?
Or width. Before or with. Yeah. Because otherwise you're going to drop the rear end down.
Okay.
But we have to make sure that that loop is up in there before. The studs for the.
So we need to put the carpet in before the motor goes in.
No, we can just stick the loop up through the holes and hold it up. Just as long as it's up in there.
Oh, and the loop won't come back out.
Right.
It can be dangling on the drive shaft.
Yeah, or we can pull it up and wire tie those bungs through the floor. That's probably
The what through the floor?
Bung. Bung hole.
Bungs.
Bung hole. Bung
Yeah,
hole.
bung hole.
Bung hole. Yeah, if you just stick that up, the bungs are offset to the passenger side.
Yep.
And then take a wire tie or two and tie on them so that it'll hang up.
How do you spell wire tie? Wire tie?
You've been mean to me all week, Tim.
Wire tie. We need. You guys know where that loop went to last night? We took it out, the drive shaft loop piece. There's the seat things. Yeah, the loop thing that bolts to the bottom of the seat brackets. It's like a square. It's not technically a loop. It's more of a drive shaft rectangle. It's in the back.
we'll put a new connector in.
Okay. That would be
No. It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, I saw it.
There it is. And it's offset to the passenger side, correct?
fuse box, back of the car.
Oh, I don't have those holes poked in there yet.
Fuse box behind the seat. What's that for that? You want me to go to the fuse box? Engage power, okay. Aren't you going back up that way for a few other things?
Are you just standing in there?
You need something? Go.
Yeah, we're going to change the harness. Drop it, you got some.
Since I put some of that boom mat, the heavy duty heat shielding stuff on the bottom of the transmission tunnel, we had all these holes and everything already mocked up in the fiberglass transmission tunnel. I had to ream the holes out with a unibit, but that's got to be in, they said, because the drive shaft kind of goes in. We'll put the drive shaft on the tail shaft of the transmission as we put the whole unit with the motor all in at one side, one time. The drive shaft goes in because everything's so tight. A lot of safety built into this vehicle. Otherwise you can't. You got to unbolt a bunch of stuff to get the drive shaft in and out.
What are you doing? Where's the right guy that's supposed to be there?
Okay, that's in.
I'll tell you what, I'm gone for 5
I got that
minutes
loop
to eat
started in there,
lunch,
Schmitty.
and then
The holes are
whole
knocked up,
thing
so it's
goes
there.
all to hell. I got the director behind the camera. I got Mike over here doing who knows whatever Mike does. And meanwhile, thankfully, at least one person is working. We got a bunch of them standing around staring, but you'll notice that Rick Love is actually working. I mean, again, Smitty's inside yammering on about something.
Drill in the frame rail, run up the frame rail.
Planning,
John
wiring.
McLeod and Michael Manning talking,
Yes.
writing.
Yeah, see? I mean, if we gave a play-by-play of these guys right now, it'd be wah, 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 wah.
That's the same sound that I think of every time you open your
But I'm used to that. I'm okay with that. Look at Manning. I haven't seen him concentrate this hard ever. I think it was easier.
He's turning his hair gray.
I think it was easier for him to learn how to drive that Camaro.
You might be right. And
I'll
he
tell
wasn't
you
very
what, he's
successful
gonna
at that
sleep.
either.
He's gonna sleep all weekend long after this deal.
He had a guy plan to come and help him.
I
Now
know.
He's actually having to do the job here.
And you get to go to Phoenix on Friday.
Yeah.
We have to get this thing turned around, and we got to go racing with this car on Saturday.
Yeah.
And even if it's raining, we're going to the chassis dyno at Holley. I didn't tell you that part, did I?
I'm not going home Saturday.
I love you, honey. And if it wasn't for John McLeod from Classic, I think that we might have had to worry about Mike climbing on the roof of the building and jumping off.
Now all we got to worry about is John taking him up there and throwing him off.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta go up here. Right.
I am excited about the headlights, I have to tell you.
The headlights are badass.
That is sexy.
Yeah, okay, so we
They're saucy too. Yeah, no, dude, they're not mutually exclusive. Saucy and sexy go together, Tim. Yeah. Oh, God, you and the mom joke. If you want to lay it down
I
on
don't
that
know.
one, dude, I got a million of those. But when they do the wrap, then these things should fit up right there nice tight.
I
And
don't
it should
know.
be a really good looking edge. I was going to say, I'm really impressed with Kurt fabricating those because...
lines down in there kind of go with the lines in the scoop.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I mean, those are all hand fabbed out of aluminum. So are the sides,
I told him he's about as handy as a pocket on a shirt.
Really? Yeah. I'm telling you, he should be able to. Yeah, he should be able to do that good, I guess. But with all the experience, but oh, you couldn't handle him. You couldn't handle him. All right. Apparently, we're putting starters on and stuff. So. We have Tim Anderson, our resident race pack and MSD guru. Look at that MSD Dynaforce starter. I know, this thing's good. These starters, honestly, LSs have a great little gear reduction starter, factory, but when you start putting in real compression and all of those things, then having a starter like this is key. But are there any, specific things that people need to know when they're ordering one?
Make a model as much as anything, what engine's it going on, because like you said, it's got enough torque to drive these high compression motors. It's light, compact, fits in small areas, as you can see right here.
Well, and especially on a swap, application, that gets to be a real concern for some of these. You get a starter that's hanging out there in the wrong position, and these are clockable. I mean, obviously, so with the, multiple holes, if we needed to, we could turn this in to get the solenoid a little tighter in. Obviously, on these LSs, you got to be cognizant of the fact that you've got a knock sensor here, and then the crank position sensor back here, but these allow a lot of room, and a simple installation, although we are taking the easy route and putting it on while it's on the bench.
Absolutely.
We don't want to have to climb under the car if we don't have to.
Let's be smart.
Well, and then we're going to put the MSD plug wires and coils on this. We're holding off on the coil installation because we're trying to see where we want to put them in the car, whether we're going to mount them up top, whether we're going to mount them in the front or up on the firewall or what have you, as much as anything to keep them cool and to keep them happy from RF interference. But the truth is, you can buy plug wire sets from MSD and put them wherever you want.
All right, absolutely.
Well, once that's on, we only have a couple of wires to do to go to our chassis wiring that Michael Manning and John are doing right now, and then a couple of things from the Holley EFI, and we're pretty well good, right?
Should be.
Okay,
Yep.
Good. All right. Oh, and we can't forget the sexy new MSD Air Force intake manifold.
Absolutely.
29 horsepower is what that thing was worth on this combo.
Yep.
And the higher the horsepower, the more it's worth. So it's pretty impressive.
And they said when they dynoed it through every 100 RPM point, it was up above factory. Yeah, absolutely.
That's impressive because an LS7 intake is, considered to be one of those that is a good benchmark.
Right.
So, all right, we'll get at it. I hear this sucker's going in shortly.
We need to switch with him. There he goes. He got it. Dude, well, you know what's funny about that? We've been fighting, the last 2 days about us, you talking and the whole process overlaying videos.
Yeah.
You're going to be all over the top of Mike. Because he's got Mike mic'd for part of the B-roll and the interview.
Yeah.
For the all you hear is you.
Oh, no way.
Talking about MSD.
That's awesome.
We could just loop a wire that is vertically. You might as well bring it all the way over here and you can pick wherever you want.
Sorry.
All right. Okay.
Are you going to put
more wiring planning? Is that what you?
Yeah, trying to get the trinary switch wired in.
Right, for the air conditioning setup, yeah.
With the Holley Domineer box, with the pulse width variable speed.
Oh, gotcha.
And making them all fire and be happy.
Right.
Bring it back and bring it through and ground it inside.
Well, and this thing, a lot of people are looking at this like it's just a race car, but we've got a lot of creature comforts going in.
With stereo, air conditioning, and power windows.
Yeah, you start sort of integrating all of those things and how they work together, along with LED lights that are variable with a knob. It means there are a lot of things going back and forth. So, good thing we got the experts here, because
this car's got everything any street car would have. Kicker stereo, vintage air conditioning, electric fans, windshield wipers,
right?
Power windows. I mean, it's nothing lacking.
No.
I've got a stick when they try to bring the ugly parts. We smack them and send them back.
It doesn't have cruise control. That's probably the only creature comfort.
Yes, it does. It's a Corvette. It does, because the trans tunnel's in the right place, so you can wedge your foot in and it'll maintain any speed you want.
No wiring needed.
Yes. The original air conditioning, or cruise control. Yeah.
Figure out how much.
Now, does the fan package have its
Mike, tell me.
leave me a coil of wire, and then if we can come back after they get some more advanced writing in it, I will wire it in. But as of right now, we just won't run the trinary switch.
And I sure want you to have a trinary because you sit with the AC on waiting in line all the time.
But the fan runs all the time when we're sitting still.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, our electric fans on these motors, because there's so much horsepower, the fan's running all the time. They actually shut off once we get moving.
What temp do you kick the fan in?
Anything I want.
I mean, what normally you do it?
165.
I mean,
Well,
where that
with
trinary
the
comes in,
pulse.
obviously, as you know, is when you just get in the car and it's all heat soaked.
Right.
Before the engine's up the temperature because that pressure goes up so quick. But if that Holley's going to be capable of handling that.
We can put the range in to start at 118, and it'll keep ramping the speed up. Robin had a graph over there. I mean, he could just take the numbers and we can ramp it up, and it'll fix both problems.
I'll put the
We can't just put more Freon in it?
I'll put the trinary on the dryer then up front.
Yes.
That'll be there or whatever.
Yes. Then I can wire it back.
So is this the paint you were looking for?
Yep.
Wow, that is perfect, isn't it? Good tech tip. Rust-Oleum truck bed coating matches the factory firewall paint on this thing like... Oh, it's not factory, it's just sort of one of those that...
That's what they did when they were cleaning. Did that when they were cleaning it up.
Oh, okay. But it's nice.
Yeah.
RideTech special texture coat.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
So you're gonna just throw a couple of fog coats on it and call it a day?
Yep. I don't want too thick, otherwise it'll never dry.
Right. Yeah, especially since we got to put the motor. Really?
Michael Michael, you have purple wire about 16, 18 gauge?
Now your wiring on this thing, what, power, ground, keyed ignition source?
Right. Yeah, our wiring, basically, like any other electronic thing with our Gen 4, it's kind of like the fuel injection. You want to go directly to the battery with your power and your ground, especially on a Corvette or anything like that. Having a good ground is so imperative to system operation. I mean, when you're working with milliamps to begin with, you've got to have a good ground. So that's one of the most common issues we run into with people as they try ground into the frame or something like that, and our instructions are real clear. You want to take that ground all the way to the battery, wherever that battery may be. It's got a label, but it's
That makes it a simple deal then. So, all right, we'll get after it. I know you guys are going to start laying wire like mad in here.
It's that time.
For those of you that are just joining us, we have a lot going on the car right now. We've got guys under the back that are, the Fiberglass Guild. They are mounting rear bumpers. We have wiring going on. We have a little touch-up paint under the hood. We have more wiring for the Vintage Air, all in preparation for the fact that the engine is going in here shortly. It's about to get pretty crazy. Tim Anderson from MSD and Race Pack is getting stuff set up on the engine to facilitate getting that in the car. They've already scoped out putting sensors under the car for shock travel and what they're going to do for the wiring on that Race Pack. That's really simple in comparison to a lot of this because of the VNet module and the way that all of this plugs in. But there is a frenzy of activity. This is going to be a very crazy